Stuart speaking here. I'm VP for International Sales and Marketing at Netready. Great to have you all here. Each week we are dedicated to producing Facebook live events just like this one. Today we're going to be discussing training your people, amazing topic and within the MLM space. I'm joined here by none other than Mr. Richard Sletcher. Richard, absolute pleasure to have you here again.
Thank you very much.
How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a chaotic morning.
It's been quite a week, I must say.
Rush in, sit down, still feel like a deer caught in the headlights.
But do you know what I love is that we still make time for these events because they are so important. I mean, we're speaking about these topical conversations that's appealing to anyone that's wanting to start and launch an MLM business. And I think we're providing good value. I mean, we're getting some awesome comments, so I think we're doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, look, and the big thing for me is what we're trying to do here, and my sort of goal here is to educate the clients to help them make a success of their business.
Yeah.
So whatever we're doing here, the key is to try and help them succeed.
Sure.
You know, and if we can do that, obviously, because of the way that our business works, we succeed.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm super keen on this whole process. It's been quite an eye opener for me.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've been doing this kind of stuff.
It has, yeah.
And so having the studio has been amazing.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And what's great is we have Caleb back, and who's our video production manager, as well as Shannon back. You know, we obviously had the COVID scare last week, which is something that we're all dealing with currently. But to have them back in the office.
Having you live switching was a disaster.
It didn't work. It worked, but it didn't work well. So I'm glad to have you back, Caleb, if you can hear us. Thanks for coming back, Shannon. Thank you. Before we start on this training your people, you know that we've got a new logo.
I know. How cool is that?
MLM for CEOs.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there are Easter eggs within that logo. Okay, exactly. So if you are watching us on Facebook Live, please look at the MLM for CEOs logo. There's Easter eggs in there. And if you have any comments and you've identified what those Easter eggs are, please put that in the comment section. I'd love to see all those comments. We obviously know them. Yeah. We love the new logo. And I think, you know, for MLM for CEOs as a platform, you know, we're really doing a lot to enhance the look and feel, as well as the content that we're creating on this platform.
Absolutely. And if you have a look at our other verticals that we operate in, like Funler and Netready, you'll see that the logos have a very similar feel across all the different verticals.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what people are going to say.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody's out there, which camera are we on here? I don't know. I can't see that camera over there. If anybody's out there who has had a look at the Netready logo, I'll be interested to see if you find the Easter egg in that one. Because that was a lot of fun when we discovered the Easter egg, because the designer who designed it told us there was an Easter egg in there. And when we found it, we were super excited about it. So please comment and see if you can see the Easter egg in any of those logos.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, what are we speaking about today? We're speaking about training your people.
Exactly. Your
people make up your MLM business, right? So, I mean, how important is training going to be of those people?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's dive into presenting the opportunity and how we go about doing that. So I've got a note here. One of the things that I love, and one of the phrases that I love when you speak to me about this, is that if you can't do it yourself, how can you expect other people to do it?
Yeah, no, look, that's 100%. The case. If you can't do it, you can't teach it.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell people how to do it, but if you have never done it yourself, what you're telling them is not necessarily the way it works.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm 100% in agreement with that, and I think it all comes down to the product. I think that is your number one key issue when it comes to training. So, and I tell our clients this. I say, look, somebody comes along to you, and they give you money. They say, here's $100 or $200 or whatever it is. And they create a contract with you. They say, here's the $200, give me a starter kit and teach me about your business. Okay, so they are actually physically paying you to learn about the product and about the compensation plan and about how the business works. So you actually have a responsibility to every single person to teach them how the business works. But for me, the number one thing is the product. And that all starts with, do you believe in the product yourself? And if you don't believe in the product yourself, then you're never going to get anybody else to believe in it. So when it comes to putting these businesses together, the first thing I always say is, right, teach the person about the product. Because if they leave, if they stop being an agent, they stop being a salesperson for you, you never want to lose them as a customer.
Yeah, sure.
So if you sat down with them and you spent 2 to 3 hours teaching them why your product's so amazing, what's in them, what makes them incredible, why they're good value for money, why a person should be using them, if you spent a good amount of time teaching them about the product, then the one thing you know is for sure, you've locked them in as a customer.
Yeah.
And that is critical, because remember, this business is all about selling products. Multi-level marketing is not a get-rich-quick scam. It's a route to market.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Yes.
So you have a product and you need to get it into a customer's hands. Now, you could use retail, but you're using multi-level marketing. And so that route to market is just a different route to market, but at the end of the day, it's all about the product.
Sure. Yeah.
You've got to be able to sell that product. You've got to be able to get that product, sort of the value of that product across to the client. And that's, for me, is just like epically important.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to take this thing out of my ear because it's making it difficult for me to hear what's going on.
Okay.
So I'll just pop it down there.
We will speak about the 6 key aspects of training your people, and we'll dive into that. So, I think for those that are watching us now, I'd love for us to just hop on what we did with AcordKids. I mean, AcordKids was an MLM business that you started and got off the ground. When we train these people on presenting the opportunity, I love the elevator pitch concept.
Yeah, so
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, so bringing agents on board, you've got to have. So if you're talking about specifically now training a person how to recruit people, I think this is phase 2. Teaching them how to recruit people is phase 2.
Yes.
Teaching them how to sell the product is phase 1. We'll come back to that because I think that bears a lot more discussion.
Yes, yes.
But when you're teaching them to share the business opportunity, there's a couple of things. The first thing is that if you took 100 companies and you chose randomly 100 people out of each MLM company, and you asked those 100 people to explain the compensation plan to you, I guarantee you that a very small, extremely small percentage of people would actually understand the compensation plans of those for their companies. And the reason being is that for the most part, you don't need to understand the compensation plan in depth. What you need to just know is, what is my next step?
Sure, okay.
Okay, so very often what you do is you give a high level overview to the compensation plan, because these comp plans are difficult to understand. And then what you do is you just focus the people on the next step. So when you're training them, it's just next steps. Now, in terms of recruiting somebody, what you want to share with them is, number 1, that they can make money.
Yeah.
Number 2, that it's pretty easy to do. That, look, you can do it. All we've got to do is show you, and you'll be able to do it. Number 3, we've got to decide that you want to do it. And then we've actually got to show you physical mechanisms of how to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so the one you're referring to is the elevator pitch. So we came up with a number of different pitches. We had the elevator pitch, which is like, how do you get your information across in the time it takes you to ride the elevator in a building. Then we had a coffee shop pitch, which means you sitting down with a friend of yours and you're pitching the business to them.
Yeah.
Then we have obviously small opportunity meetings, which is something that you would do in a home. You have 3 or 4 people around, 5 people at your home, and you pitch the business to them. Then we have the next one up is like a opportunity meeting, where you're booking out a hall or a facility of some sorts and actually running the opportunity meeting at a higher level. And then lastly, you would have an online meeting where you're pitching the business to a large number of people online. And each one of those has a different strategy.
Yeah.
But the one that you like is the elevator pitch. And I developed this when we first got started with AcordKids. Everybody had business cards, and we taught them to walk into the elevator, and as the doors closed, they would say, "So you're probably wondering why I called this meeting." And of course,
It's brilliant.
everybody's standing around, and
What?
I guarantee you one of the people will say, "So why did you call this meeting?"
Yes.
So now you've completely broken the ice. Now that is the tough thing, to walk in and have the balls to say, you're probably
Wow.
wondering why I called this meeting. That
Yeah.
you've got to practice with your people.
Yeah, okay.
But now the next part is really easy. Is in AcordKids, it was, I'm looking for ladies who want to be full-time mummies and have a part-time business, earn an extra couple of $1,000 a month. If you know anybody who wants to earn $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month extra part-time, please give them my business card.
Yes.
And I would hand out the business card to everybody in the lift. Now that took you 30 or so seconds. By the time the elevator doors open again, everybody in the lift has got your business card. Everybody in the lift knows that you're selling children's bath products. Everybody knows that you're looking for somebody to sell these products part-time and earn a couple of $1,000 a month extra. And everybody, I can guarantee you, knows somebody who they think would like to do this.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, if there's a lady in the lift, in AcordKids, they're thinking to themselves, I think I would like to do this.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that required a couple of approaches. First of all, we videoed that. So we had it on a video. In back in those days, you actually had video discs, which we would hand out in the starter kit.
The DVDs and the,
The second thing is I took the guys and we went and rode the lifts in a high-rise building to practice it. So we'd get into the lift. You're probably wondering why I've called this meeting.
Yeah.
You'd hand out the cards and you'd get out the lift, and they'd see you do it 3 or 4 times, and you get them to do it. And once they've done it 3 or 4 times, they never get into a lift without making that comment again.
Yeah.
Now, of course, those people don't really know what's going on. So the next step would be they phone up, say, listen, I'm interested in making a couple of extra $1,000 a month. And you'd say to them, can I have coffee with you? And you'd sit down and pitch the business to them. But the issue is that you need a single message going out there. So the way we did it is everything was videoed. And so when you're training somebody, you watch the video. Then you do a Q&A.
Yep.
So you actually explain to them what's going on. They ask questions. You know, what happens if nobody says, so what is this meeting for? You know, they ask those questions.
Yeah.
You then role play that. So there's a whole aspect of role playing it. And then you take them into the field, and there's a 3-part process. I do it, you watch.
Yes.
We do it together.
Yes.
You do it, I laugh. I mean, watch. And then you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole process there, if you can see, now you apply that to everything that you train on. When it comes to doing the opportunity meeting, you put a video together, teaches you how to do the opportunity meeting. This is when you say this is how you bring up that slide, or this is how you, if you're doing it on a brochure, however you're doing it, you talk to this picture, you talk to that picture, or you draw circles on a napkin.
Yeah.
Whatever your process of doing it is, there's a video. After the video, we sit and have a Q&A session where you interrogate me about all of, you know, what's going on with the compensation plan. Then we role play it. Then I do it, you watch. We do it together. You do it, I watch, you do it.
Yeah.
So there's a process on all of your training that rolls through there.
Okay.
And again, same thing with the product. Going back to what I was saying earlier on. The key thing with the product is you want to teach people, A, how to sell the product, but much more importantly, you want to teach them how to love the product.
Yeah.
You know, and there's 2 things in that as well.
Yeah.
One is knowing what's going on in this product. Knowledge is power. Number 2 is using the product and actually developing a heartfelt belief in what that product does.
Sure. Because the belief goes from your mind into consuming the product into your heart.
Exactly.
And when it goes into your heart, then you're fully committed to believing and distributing that product.
Well, I tell people about the story. Many years ago, my daughter Bronwyn fell into the swimming pool and just sank to the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. So before that happened, I believed you couldn't breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew it,
Yeah.
obviously. The day that I had to dive into the pool and pull her out from the bottom of the pool, that day, the knowledge went from my head to my heart.
Yeah.
I stopped knowing it and I started believing it.
Yeah.
And then I became the most ridiculous person when it came to water safety. There were nets on our pools. There were fences around the pools. I had a device in the swimming pool that if anybody fell in, it would immediately sound an alarm.
Yeah.
I mean, it became ridiculous about it. But it's because I stopped knowing it and I started believing it.
Wow.
The same thing with the product. If you have a great product, people will know it's a great product because you told them it's a great product and you've told them what's in it. But when they start using it and they start feeling the impact of what that product does for them, whatever it is, cell phone airtime, it could be insurance policies, it could be lotions, potions, and pills. I mean, it could be whatever. If it has an impact on them personally, that's when the knowledge goes from here to the heart. So exactly what you're saying, you need to believe heart and soul in this product in order for it to be, for you to be an ambassador that when you talk about it, it's obvious that you believe in it. Otherwise, all you're doing is regurgitating the verbiage.
Exactly. And what happens if you don't believe in the product, but you're selling it?
Well, then you're a con artist.
Well, exactly. So to recap there, we need to, from a training aspect, we need to provide and create training material and that of video content. We then need to have a Q&A back and forth just to understand completely. And then we want to role play. Okay. And that process is done throughout. What I want to get into just now is those 6 categories of training your people and where we should be focusing our attention on training your people.
Okay.
I love that 3-phased approach to training. Okay. I also really enjoy I do, you watch. What is it?
So, I do, you watch.
Yes.
We do it together.
Yes.
You do, I watch. You do.
Yeah, okay.
So,
you should laugh earlier.
Yeah, no. Normally, we've had some amazing experiences.
Yeah.
So I had this lady, we were selling, back in the day, we were selling vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
And we had this lady who was deaf.
Okay.
And she was hysterically funny. And she was going out and selling the product. I mean, she was an awesome salesperson.
Brilliant.
But one of the tricks we had is this vacuum cleaner we're selling is called a Rainbow. It's very powerful. And so you could kind of, I mean, it was incredible how well it sucked up things.
Yeah.
And she came back to the meetings the one day and she said, unfortunately, I haven't made a sale because I had a bit of an accident. And I said, well, what happened? She said, the lady asked me to clean out the bottom of the budgie cage and I really should have taken the budgie out first.
Oh, no. You're kidding.
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
So when I say that you do, I laugh, there are times when things can be pretty funny. Not for the budgie, of course, but yeah, definitely.
Oh, my goodness.
So some funny things do come out of the dealer's mouths when they're doing it and you're watching.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, shame. I feel terrible for her. But it is the we laugh kind of concept.
Yeah, no, she came to herself as well. Don't worry. She thought it was very shame. They tried to rescue, unfortunately. The budgie wasn't so lucky.
Yes.
There's no rescue attempt being done there.
And Richard, so now we speak about our people. Now, obviously, we know that training is important, right? Okay. Now let's look at our network's background. I mean, who are these people? Because if we understand who these people are, we can then know how to train them. We can then know when they come into the network what to expect from them straight away and what they need guidance on. So, I mean, what sort of backgrounds do these people come from?
Well, this is one of the challenges that we have. Let's just say that you were an employer.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said to me, come and work for me. I'm going to pay you $1,000 a month, using an odd amount of money.
Yeah.
And I want you to sell something for me. So the first thing that you would do, you wouldn't dream of thinking that I would be capable of selling your product just off the bat.
Yeah.
And if you're paying me $1,000 a month, you surely are going to make jolly sure I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So you would tell me to shut up, sit down, face the front, and you would tell me exactly what to say, when to say it, how your product works. You'd spend an inordinate amount of time making sure that I know how to sell the product, because every month that I don't know how to sell the products, costing you $1,000.
Sure.
Okay. So but what happens when people they recruit people into the networks? They say, well, this person's come on board. Here's the product. Off you go and sell it.
Yeah.
Now you need to understand the background this person's probably come from. So what's happened is the person got put into nursery school, where they were told to shut up, sit down, face the front, do what I tell you. Then they went to primary school, where again, keep quiet, face the front. And in actual fact, if you're a boy and you're making a noise, we're going to stick you on Ritalin and drug you.
Yeah.
Because we want you to shut up, face the front, be quiet, do what we tell you. Then you get into high school, and again, better you not think for yourself because, and I mean, I have a story about this.
Yeah.
My daughter, one of the questions in one of her exams
Yeah.
was, in your opinion, what did so-and-so mean when he said this? And the teacher, she gave her opinion and the teacher marked her wrong. And I went to see the teacher. I said, well, look, the question says, in your opinion.
Yes.
So my daughter's giving you an opinion. How can you mark her wrong for her opinion? You're
Yeah.
telling her opinion's not valid. I wasn't looking for her opinion. I was looking for the opinion I told her in the class.
Oh, well, I mean, come on.
But that's the mentality of
Yeah.
a traditional school system. Now,
Yeah.
you get out of high school and you now go into college or university, and what happens is they take you from a fairly narrow band of knowledge and they narrow you down even further and you start specializing. And so you'll specialize in accounting or medical, whatever you specialize in, an extremely narrow vertical. Now the person comes with all of that baggage and they join your multi-level marketing business, and you expect them to have creativity and you expect them to be able to be innovative and just work it out for themselves. Well, the reality is they can't. They've spent the last 15 years or 20 years or whatever it is narrowing their thinking down to almost a pinpoint, and now you're expecting them to have this overall sort of view of the world, and they don't. And so what you've got to do is you've got to realize that this person, not lazy. They didn't get to where they are by being lazy. So they're not lazy, because that's one of the things. Oh, these guys are just lazy.
Yeah.
That's not the truth.
Yeah.
So people come in, and if they don't know what to do, then after a while, they actually lose interest because they don't know what to do. It's not that they're not prepared to work. If they knew what to do and they knew how to do it, they would do it. Because they want to earn the money. They want to win the trips to Mauritius and Hawaii. They want to actually become high-ranking, get into a high-ranking position in the business. They want that.
Yeah.
They desire that a great deal. But of course, because they don't have the right guidance and they don't have the right information and they don't have the right training, they just don't succeed.
Yeah.
And then the business sees all of this churn happening, these people coming and going, and they just think that, well, that's the industry. It's just churn. But it's not just the industry.
No.
It's their lack of training. It's their lack of motivation and their desire to help their people. If they were paying each person $1,000 a month to be there, I guarantee you they'd be training the backside of them, making sure they're successful.
Yeah.
But because they don't have any skin in the game, that person has paid them. They tend to take a back seat on that and just let the person, you know, if they lose them, well, too bad.
Yeah.
But that is completely the wrong approach. You need to treat each person who you've brought in with the responsibility that you have. You've sold this person a dream. You've said, hey, if you come to our business, this is what can happen to you. You can win a trip to Mauritius, you can do this, you can earn that much money, we can put you into this rank, we'll give you this kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it's now your responsibility to make sure that if this person fails, it's not because of you, but in spite of you.
Sure.
You must have done everything possible to help them succeed. And so that's for me why training is such a crucial key element in this whole thing, is because people are not going to do it by themselves. They absolutely need to have their hand held and guided to make it happen for them.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, and I am, and so are you, a big advocate for MLM versus traditional businesses.
Yeah, sure.
But what I feel that traditional businesses do really well is train their people, because they're paying them a salary, and they feel that it's their duty and obligation, which it is, to train them.
Yeah.
So why does it not filter into the MLM space?
Well, exactly. I mean, imagine you employed me and you gave me a desk, a telephone, and said, that's the product, get on with it.
Go on, yeah.
I mean, what would the reality be there?
Yeah.
After 6 months, if I hadn't sold anything, what would you be saying to me?
I'd say take a hike out the door.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But whose fault would it be that I'm not succeeding?
Well, it's my fault.
Exactly.
Entirely.
Exactly. And the same thing applies. The vast majority of people who fail in our space fail because they're not properly trained. And the thing is, what people don't realize is you can ramp your business up on adrenaline. You can take your business from zero to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a month very quickly because of the strategies that we employ. But if you don't train your people, what will happen is that you will have a bell curve. The business will just fall off a cliff because once people stop actually seeing, because if it's growing, there's people making money.
Yeah.
As soon as the business stops growing, because no product is being sold, people stop earning money and then the business collapses.
Yeah.
And people stop buying the product and stop using the product because they don't believe in it.
Yeah.
And if they don't believe in it, it's because you haven't trained them, or you got a rotten product. Well, if you got a rotten product, you shouldn't be in the business in the first place.
Yeah.
But let's assume that you've got a great product. Let's assume you've got an excellent product. If people are not buying it and your business falls off the cliff, there's only one reason, and that's because you haven't trained them.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's everything. You wouldn't even dream of not training your salesperson who you're employing.
Yeah.
Another thing I just want to point out: if you employ me and you pay me a salary, you pay me $1,500 a month, whatever it is, to sell your product, I don't need to believe in the product, because what happens, you pay me a salary to regurgitate your verbiage, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But if you're in an MLM space and I'm doing this where my entire credibility is attached to what I'm saying, then you have to know that I've got to believe in that product to be your ambassador.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
that comes from real training. I have to understand the product. I have to believe it. I have to know that it works. I have to be using it myself. I absolutely have to be an advocate of that product from the heart in order to sell it and to be effective at it. And again, it all comes back to training the people.
Yeah. And who does the training? Because let's look at some of our clients. I mean, there's 50,000, 100,000 network members within their ranks.
Yeah.
The company owners can't possibly train all of those people.
No, so the idea is it's supposed to be leadership led. So what the company should be doing is teaching the leaders. So when the company gets started, one of their key responsibilities is to make sure that their leadership 100% understands the business end to end.
Yeah.
And then you've got to have mechanisms in play that those leaders can generate a learning process with their clients, so they can teach them. And there's got to be one message, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have Chinese whispers going on. We're not broken telephone. Remember that?
Yes. The game. Game.
So,
I was horrible at it.
How were you? We were sitting in the movie house.
Yeah.
Okay. And Justin was sitting at the one end of the movie seats. We were waiting for the movie to come on. Ryan was sitting at the other end. And Justin got very clever. He said, whispers into whoever's next to him, I'm an idiot, pass it on. And so the next person, I'm an idiot, pass it on, I'm an idiot, pass it on. Gets to Ryan, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Ryan says, you're an idiot. Justin says, no, I'm an idiot. Ryan says, exactly, you're an idiot.
So Ryan was the clever one there.
So the bottom line is, though, I mean, that's digressing, but the bottom line is that you don't want to have these broken telephone things. So you need to have a message. And that's why I'm a great advocate of video training. Yeah. And that's the reason we set up this recording studio, this video studio, is because we know that our clients, for the most part, can't afford to get a professional video studio to do their videos for them. Yeah. But you need high quality, high class videos, because otherwise your image of your business, I mean, it's attached to that video. The guy watches it, he judges your business on that video. Yeah. And to rent a video studio now is costing you, I don't know, between $1,000 and $2,000 a day to get a proper studio in. So you spend a week in the studio and you kind of $10,000 down the road, so it can be extremely expensive exercise. So it's the reason we've put the studio together, is to try and provide our clients with an inexpensive way to get highly professional videos. Yeah. Now the idea is to have those videos available. So let's say you have a product video. Let's say you're launching a new coffee, prime example. So you create a video that teaches everything you need to know about that coffee. At the end of the video, you have a Q&A session where somebody interrogates whoever the trainer is about aspects of the coffee that we might not have dealt with. Yeah. Okay? And you put that up online. So the issue is that what happens is that the person, if I'm training you, for example, we watch that video together. And we watch the Q&As. And are there any more questions that you have? Yeah. You then ask me, you interrogate me on those questions. Now, obviously, when I'm new, I might have to say, I'll get back to you on that, and I might need to find it out. But after a while, I've got all the answers. So whatever questions were not answered on the video, I answer for you. So now we're at a position at that point where you've watched the videos, we've done a Q&A session, you're pretty on top of what this product is all about. Okay, so now, and that's a single message that goes out to every single agent. Doesn't matter where they are in the world. You could have somebody in London training somebody in the US who's training somebody in Australia. Doesn't matter, because it's a single message.
Yeah.
Okay, now the next thing is that we've done the Q&A. Now we need to role play. So you need to tell me everything you've just learned about this coffee. Why is this coffee amazing?
Yeah.
You know, it's got a particularly beautiful brown color. Whatever it is that makes this coffee amazing, you tell me. So we role play this thing, and you keep on doing it, and the more you do it, the more it reinforces your understanding and insights into the coffee. So now we've watched the video, we've done a Q&A, we've role played this. Now the next step is for us to go into the field. So I'm going to say to you, so who do you know that we can go and show this coffee to?
Yeah.
Come on, we need to practice. Anybody, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Your mother, your brother, your uncle, your sister, your aunt, doesn't matter. Set up an appointment, let's go and show the coffee to them. And then the two of us are going to go out. We've role played it. Now, perhaps I do the presentation to your sister's uncle's brother's cousin, or we do it together. But the bottom line is we now get into the field and we do the exercise. And we do it once, where maybe you watch me. Then we do it once where the two of us do it together. And then we do it once where you do it. And then you go out and see if you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
You fly solo for the first time.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if you did that with every single agent that you recruited. Your churn ratio would be way down.
Yeah.
Because even if that person decided they didn't want to sell the product, after all of that training, do you think they'd still be drinking your coffee? Damn right.
Definitely.
Of course. A very high percentage of them would continue to be customers, even if they were not agents for the business. And an example of this is Amway.
Yeah.
I mean, I joined Amway. I've joined most of the MLM companies to see what they're doing, because I want to experience their business. With Amway, they managed to hook me onto half of their products, because when they told me how their products work, and when I went through all the product training, I fell in love with the products. I've got their water purifier, and I use their vitamins, and, you know, I mean, I've just got a pile of their products in my house, because it's obviously an amazing product, but they also trained the hell out of me during that process. So even though I haven't ever sold an Amway product in my life, I'm a customer of theirs.
Wow.
And they had that opportunity, they took it, and I mean, their training is amazing. That's one of the, in terms of training, they're one of the best companies I've seen around.
Yeah.
They're really, really
You're a big
good.
advocate for them. I know in terms of their training.
No.
So what is the goal with training? Now, is the goal to say, I need to do, as a team leader, as the recruiter, I need to do as much as I can to the best of my ability to be able to provide as much training and information to this person that I've just recruited as possible. If he does not, then if he fails or doesn't perform, well, you know, whose fault is that?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, look, if you've done everything in your power, then, and he fails, then it's not your fault.
Yeah.
If you've done it all. Now, one of the things that we've built into the Netready system, which I think is quite important, is we've got this whole,
love this.
what do they call it?
The registered sponsor.
No, but
The pledge.
The pledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can just describe the pledge.
So the pledge is when someone. So there's two ways to say the pledge. The first thing is that as the recruiter, I pledge to support and help the people that I recruit in the following ways. And there's a number of ways in which we say, this is how I'm going to support the person so I can guide them through this first 6-week period and beyond. We'll get into the 6-week period.
Yeah.
But the pledge is something that every person in the network says, I, Stuart, will do this for my team, and I guide through those elements.
So the kind of elements we're talking about is, I'll teach you about the product.
Yes.
Okay? I'll teach you how to use the software and the systems, the IT systems.
Yeah.
I'll teach you how to present the business opportunity. I'll actually help you, the compensation plan, the business opportunity. I will help you to recruit your first people, and I'll help you to make your first sales.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the reason I like having that pledge in place is that it gives a clear indication of what my role is in this thing.
Yes.
When I bring you on board, I pledge those things to you. I promise you that I will do these things with you.
Yeah.
But there's a pledge that you make to me. You say, I pledge to do everything in my power to learn how this product works.
Exactly.
And that's including using the product, making sure that I actually love the product. So if I don't love the product, can't sell it. I promise to learn exactly how the IT systems work and to spend time going through them and getting whatever help I need to understand how to leverage those IT systems to the best of my ability. I promise to learn how the compensation plan works, whatever it takes. And sometimes for a lot of people, numbers are difficult. So whatever it takes, I promise to help you to learn that. I promise to bring people to you so that you can be helped. I can be helped to recruit those people, and I promise to bring customers to you so that I can learn how to get customers on board.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street.
Yeah. You're setting the expectation.
Exactly. And once I've made that pledge to you and you've made that pledge to me, we now know exactly where each other stands on this and what each other's responsibilities are.
Yeah.
So for me, when I bring you on, I want that pledge to be signed actually before you sign onto the business. Because if I'm not prepared to do the things, sorry, I'm busy slapping the microphone here. If I'm not prepared to do the work with you, then I shouldn't be bringing you on. And if you're not prepared to do the work with me, you shouldn't be joining.
Yeah.
So both of us have got skin in the game now because we've actually pledged to do this with each other. Now, that swings on to the next step, which is being accountable.
I was going to ask, how do you measure accountability here? Or take accountability?
So I don't know if you know about Uber. So when an Uber driver takes you on a trip, at the end of it, you get to rate them. And if they've done a good job, you give them a high rating. If they've done a crummy job, you give them a low rating. And if they get too many crummy ratings, they're gone.
Yes.
So they, as a result, drive really well. They don't smoke in the car. They kind of put the air conditioner on when you want. They turn the radio off if you want. They kind of look after you like you're royalty because they know there's accountability at the end of the day. Now, we recommend having the same accountability. Whatever software you're using, there needs to be a mechanism for you to rate your sponsor. How are they doing? Now, we touched on the 6-week period. You got 6 weeks to get your guys going, to train them and to get them up, and we'll talk about that next. But the way that we've done it with Netready, we've got a rating system whereby each week you get an email telling you what I, as your sponsor, should have done and what you should have done, and saying, just remember that in 6 weeks' time, you'll be rating Richard. And then the next week, the same thing. This is what should have happened during this week. Remember, in 5 weeks, you'll be rating Richard, and so on and so forth. And on the 6th week, you send out an email to Richard and to Stuart. And it says, hi, Stuart, remember you got to rate Richard today. Please click on the link and give him a rating. And it sends an email to Richard saying, hey, by the way, remember that Stuart is rating you today. And so Stuart goes in there, rates Richard. If I've done a crummy job and I've neglected you and I haven't done the things that I need to do, I'm going to get a crummy rating. And in the Netready system, if I get 3 crummy ratings, the system suspends me. I stop earning commissions. It sends me a link. It says, hey, you've got to do this reboot course. I then have to do a course in the system where I learn what I'm supposed to do. Basically, it's just reinforcing, hey, you should have helped Stuart with these things. And once I've passed the reboot course with 80% or more, the system automatically reinstates me and makes me active again. Now, some of our clients are resistant to this because they're scared it's going to chase away people. And I say to them, listen, you're either going to lose them up front in small quantities because they don't want to do the work, or you're going to lose them in volumes down the line because your network is not looking after their people. Now, your choice. You can scare some people off because they actually see what they have to do and they don't want to do it. Or you can lose them in their droves at the end because they realize what they have to do and didn't want to do it and nobody's helping them. So I say to them, listen, guys, you need to have that in play. You need to be having this rating system and you need to be implementing it religiously.
I agree with you. I mean, this is weeding out the weak trainers. That's what we kind of do.
Well, again, remember, it's not that they're lazy. It's that they don't know what to do. So again, you know, I go back to this thing. When when I'm talking to somebody like this, it's not, I'm not saying, listen, we're going to kick you out or we're going to suspend you because you're useless.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to force the training process on them, because I know that if I teach them properly, they will do what is necessary. You know that old saying, if you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's all about here.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we've trained them. If they're getting bad ratings, then whose fault is that?
Yeah.
Well, it's my fault, because obviously I haven't trained them properly. Now, if they're consistently getting bad ratings over time, well, then I need to fire them, because they're obviously useless.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're not wanting to neglect their people. They just don't actually know what to do. And so we need to make sure we equip them and give them the tools to do what is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's dive into those 6 weeks.
Okay.
We have 6 weeks to optimally train our people. I think in one of your stats, you came up with the stats that was it 98%? That high?
No, it's about 80%.
80%. Okay.
80% of the people who do not make money in their first 6 weeks leave the business, and you never get them back.
I mean, that is high. You work so hard to get them into the network. It just seems pointless to then just sit back, relax, and let them try find their feet.
And the problem is, what happens is that they leave, and the first thing is they talk about your business. Oh, yeah, I tried that. It was a waste of time.
Which is horrible. That's terrible.
So your company's got a bad name straight away.
Yeah.
But B, the whole industry gets slammed because, oh yes, no, I tried that multi-level marketing, that network marketing thing. It really didn't work for me. And they won't try another business. They won't get into another company that maybe has better training program.
Yeah.
So not only do you lose them to your business, but you lose them to the whole industry. And that really is a shame. And it's one of the reasons why the industry's got a bad name, is because there's so many people who are just throwing mud against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
And occasionally there's somebody who's got the ability to make it all happen for themselves, and they're going to make it happen. But the companies that are really successful, the Avons of this world and the Amways of this world, if you have a look at their training regimes, they are intense. They really do train their people properly. Okay, so we can talk about those?
Yeah, let's talk about those. What I'm just thinking now is that if I compare this again to traditional businesses, if you were to leave or get fired from one law firm, doesn't mean that you're against law firms and you'll never be a lawyer in your life.
No, of course not.
You'll move into the next business. But that's where MLM has this energy about it. If you move on and you're not trained correctly, and if the 6 weeks pass and you do not perform, well, you actually just leave the industry in its entirety.
And I think that part of that is to do with expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. When I do law, I go and I study for 5 years. I then go do my what do they call it when you do your articles?
Articles, yeah.
And then I write the bar.
Yeah.
And then I become a lawyer.
Yes.
So my expectation is this is going to be extremely tough. It's going to be taking me 7-8 years. And then when I become a lawyer, I'm going to earn peanut money for the first 5 years because I'm learning the trade. And I'm slowly going to work my way up, and over 20 years' time, 30 years' time, I'm going to be earning really good money.
Yeah.
Now, there's an expectation. You get into this business, you think, well, within 6 weeks, I need to be making plenty of money, and if I'm not, I'm gone. Now, people in our space, in the MLM space, a lot of them earn substantially more than what you could ever earn as a lawyer or an accountant or any other profession out there.
Yeah.
So there's big money to be earned here, but of course, you've got to be able to stick it out and go through the learning curve. And what we've discovered is that if the guys haven't made at least some money within the first 6 weeks, they're gone. So part of teaching your people how to get going, part of that training process is taking them from zero to at least making some money within 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So we normally do it with fast start bonuses. Okay. So we'll have a fast start bonuses that says if you sign 2 clients up onto our system who order $1,000 worth of product or $500 worth of product between them, we're going to give you a $200 fast start bonus.
Okay.
Now, you're probably making zero money on the sales that they've made, but you're getting $200 or $100 into their hands. Yeah. And once they see that first check come in, that is super powerful, because what's happened there is they now believe they did X, Y happened, cash flowed. So now that belief system's taking it from here to here. And the same thing is we would say to them, so first 2 weeks, you've got to make your first 2 sales.
Yeah.
Then we would say to them, okay, second 2 weeks, you've got to make another 2 sales. Sorry, we're coming into land.
The time. Yeah.
And then obviously in your third 2 weeks, you might say to them, you need to sign up somebody.
Yeah.
Get your first customer.
Yes.
Your first IBO into the business.
Yeah.
So that kind of would be over a 6-week period what you're trying to do. You're trying to get them to a point where they can actually do this business and where they've earned some money out of it. And so we're very heavily focused in the entire training process over that 6-week period.
Yeah.
And it's week 1, it's all about the product. Week 2, it's actually the role play and going out and actually finding the first 2 customers. Week 3, you are going out to find the customers. We're starting to look at teaching you about the compensation plan, how all of that works.
Yeah.
By week 4, we're starting to do our first presentations on the business.
Yeah.
And then in week 5 and 6, we're going to bring in our first couple of people who we are then going to train.
Yeah.
By the time you've brought in your first person, though, you need to be 100% sure that you understand how to sell the product. And that's part of that 6 weeks training sequence.
Yeah. Because after that 6 weeks, when you recruit someone, you need to know how to then train them.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can't train someone.
But that's why it's got to be automated.
Yeah.
I watch the video.
Yeah.
We do a Q&A. We role play. We go into the field and we put it into practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that process, you've got to lock it down, because if you just hope that I'm going to teach my new recruit what to do,
yeah,
I'm never going to be able to succeed, especially as a new person. So that's why it's got to be a completely duplicatable process.
Yeah.
You know, we're just getting started on this training session. I could talk about this for the next 5 hours, but I see that we're coming into land here. And I was wondering, are there any comments or stuff that we need to actually deal with? No questions. Okay, fantastic.
Only nice things being said.
Okay.
So well, that sounds good.
That's what I like to hear.
And okay, there we go. Okay, I can see that up there. Thanks, guys. Please keep those comments coming in. We love to see that.
Okay, so I would like to get some recommendations in here. So the first thing I would recommend is that every aspect of your products, every single product and what makes your products great should be put into video form. Okay? And we charge peanuts for this studio, but if you can't get here because you're somewhere around the world and you can't reach us, then fair enough, do it with a local production facility. But I must just say, if you're sitting in London and you want an epic holiday in Cape Town, we would love to host you. It would be cheaper for you to fly to Cape Town and do a week's worth of videos here in our studio and fly back to London than it would be to do this video in London.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
And we can host you here. I mean, I'd love to go up Table Mountain again and around Cape Point.
And this is one of the great holiday destinations in the world. So wherever you are in the world and you want to come out here and actually do some videos, we would absolutely love to host you, and we'd love to produce some great videos with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of that so my first recommendation is get everything into video, so that no matter who joins, where they join, they can sit down, they can go onto the training system, and they can actually watch the training.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, if I recruit you, we would watch the training together.
Sure.
And you would train your people to do that, because what happens when we watch the training together is 2 things. 1, you learn about the product. Number 2, my belief system gets locked in again.
Gets renewed.
Exactly. Because every time I watch the video, every time I see this messaging again, it becomes more part of me. So if I train 10 people, I've watched that video 10 times. I've done Q&A 10 times. I've become a much more powerful advocate for the product, because I'm learning all the time. And it's just becoming, you have to see a message 10 times before there's something like that. I can't remember the exact number. But that's the key thing. So I highly recommend that our clients get their products absolutely locked down in terms of video. And it needs to be well prepared. You can't come and do some airy-fairy thing. You need to know that you can present it. And that's what goes back to what you said earlier on, is that in order to sell it, you have to know how to do it yourself.
Sure.
Train it, you have to know how to do it yourself. If you don't know how to sell the product yourself, how are you ever going to train anybody else? So you need to have been out there selling it. You need to know what the objections are. You need to know all of those things so that you can train people to do what you know what to do. Okay, so that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is the same with the compensation plan.
Yeah.
Get the compensation plan nailed down, but know who your audience is. So if you've got a new IBO, there's 6 ways you can earn from us. You can get a retail commission, and you can get a this and that and da-da-da. But right now, the ones that you are focused on is you want to go out and sell some product, which means you're going to get your retail commission, and you want to sign up your first 2 people. Those are the 2 things that you're focused on now, and this is the outcome. All of that stuff you're going to learn about down the road, but right now, this is what we need to focus you on. So this is the big picture.
Yep.
This is for the next 6 weeks. This is what you need to focus on. Don't worry about that stuff. We'll get there.
Yeah, it'll come.
You know? So you give them the big picture. So the compensation plan, when you train the compensation plan, I would have different training for different levels. So I would have a new IBO training. I'd have team leader training. I'd have your diamond and above training, whatever your ranks are.
Yes.
I would train people at different levels of the compensation plan.
Okay.
And each time I would have a situation is, this is the compensation plan. This is how you earn from us, but the 2 you worried about is this one and that one. And you just focus them on those activities.
Yeah.
When you get to team leader, what are you focused on? You're focusing on your leadership bonus or whatever it is, etc.
Yeah.
So that's with the
comp plan.
comp plan.
Yeah.
The third thing that I would teach people, and to make sure that they can do this better than anything else, is being able to invite people to the events and the meetings.
Yeah.
Because the best place to get this is if you've got a professional pitching the products in the business, somebody who's been doing it, who's watched 100 times watched that video, is pitching the product.
Yeah.
The chances of somebody buying in are much higher.
Yeah.
And then also, there's the old saying, if I say it, you doubt it. If you say it, you believe it.
Yes.
So now what's happening is that if I tell you, then you doubt it. But if we get a third party, so we are sitting there and a third party is sharing that with us, then it becomes more believable.
Yeah.
So I would spend an inordinate amount of time teaching people how to invite people to a coffee shop meeting, to a home opportunity meeting, to a big opportunity meeting, to any events the company's had. I teach them to do that. I'd role play the hell out of that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And make sure they understand that backwards, forwards, and sideways. Because if I can invite you, then I've got you.
Yeah.
And I mean, little tricks, and I mean, whoever's doing this needs to actually look at how you can make sure people come, because there's lots of little things. Geez, I could talk for days on this. But an example is, when I first got started in the MLM space, I would say, okay, I'll meet you at the venue. And then people would not rock up.
Yeah.
And I'd be sitting at the venue and my people didn't pitch. And it was really hard, because after a while, nobody's pitching. You start getting really depressed. But the thing is that that person knows you're in a safe space.
Yeah.
They know you're happy, you're healthy, you whatever. And if they don't pitch, it's not going to be a major disaster. So what I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I then said to my wife, listen, drop me off on the corner of such and such a street and such a street in the bad weather. I'll be standing under the bus stop, and I'd phone you up and say, hey, Stuart, I need to get a lift with you to the venue. Would you mind picking me up at the bus stop on the corner of such and such and such and such?
Yeah.
Now the person knew that I was nowhere near where I could be picked up. They knew that they had to come. And if they didn't come, I was there, man alone. I didn't have a car. I had no way of getting home. I'd been dropped off there.
Yeah.
Suddenly, all of my no-shows evaporated. Everybody then showed up. So the issue is that in terms of getting people to meetings, there's a lot of tricks and tips that you can learn. There's books on it. You know, I would absolutely focus heavily on inviting people to the meeting.
We actually coined that the Cold Street Corner strategy. And that's brilliant.
Yeah. So it's all of those little things that I would focus on.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I've forgotten now, is just in closing. So we got them on
Inviting,
the videos.
training.
Sorry?
Training.
Oh,
How to then train.
teach them how to train their people, which is watching the video, Q&A, taking them out into the field, role play, field training, and then letting them fly themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's a closed loop. If you just keep on doing that over and over again, you'll find your churn will go down. You might still lose agents, because not everybody wants to sell your product. But what you won't do is you won't lose them as customers. So you won't have people just resigning from your business and not buying from you anymore. And I think that's the big thing. If you want to take away from this, You know, the better you teach your people, the more people will sell your product.
Yeah.
But more importantly, the more people will be your long-term, ongoing, forever customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We have got 4 minutes left. I've got a quick question. Does doubling your team size, this is coming from one of our clients, does doubling your team size mean doubling your sales?
Okay, so what I found when I was running AcordKids, we did an enormous amount of training. We used to do a thing called the color workshop, and I'd literally train everybody to do it. We'd get a bunch of mummies together, we'd mix colors, and we'd do this color workshop. And we got ourselves up to, on average, 500 rands per mom, per agent, per month sales. We call them dealers.
Yeah.
So our dealers were doing 500 rands on average per month. Now that's not a huge amount of money. It's part-time. Some dealers were doing 10,000 rands. Some dealers were doing nothing, but on average 500 rands. And we trained them well to get them to that at the time.
Yeah.
Now remember, we were selling bubble bath. I mean, 500 rands with a bubble bath, shed load of bubble bath, I want to tell you. Then what we did is we thought, okay, what we'll do is in order to double our turnover, we'll double up on our training. And we then went all out. We trained our guts out with these people.
Yeah.
And what we did is we lifted it from 500 rands to 600 rands. So we had, I mean, that's a good 20% rise in sales.
Yeah.
So fantastic. But remember, it was off a base of well-trained people in the first place. Then what we decided is, okay, let's double our team size. Same amount of training. We didn't lessen our training. We doubled our team size. We doubled our turnover. So we found that the average went back to 500, but the team size was double, and so we immediately doubled our turnover. So yes, double your size of your team and you double your sales volumes, but only if you trained your people properly. If you haven't trained your people, you can double your team size and not get a single extra sale.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. We've got clients who've hit a, let's say, $2 million a month with, say, 10,000 members, have then grown their business to 100,000 members and still doing just $2,000 a month. And the reason for that is they're not training their people properly. And so there's churn. These people are in their systems, but are actually not active, and they're not selling the product because they don't know what they're doing. So, yes, if you train your people properly, then doubling your team will double your sales. If you don't, then you can times 10 your team and still not double your sales. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Oh, that was powerful. Thank you, Richard.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's us. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure having you here. Richard, thank you so much for your time, your insights. It always, I mean, it's amazing to hear your experience and industry know-how,
thank you.
Especially in this space. We know how important training is, so I'm hoping that with what advice and guidance Richard has given us, you take that into account and you feed that through to your network and your team leaders. Thank you so much for the time. Please, if you haven't yet already, subscribe to our YouTube channel and Spotify, and also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We're promoting awesome content just like this every single week. So please, if you are interested, follow us and like, share.
Just one other thing is, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our channel there. We have to have 2,000 subscribers before we can start live streaming on YouTube. So we're desperate to get to that 2,000 mark. So I'd really appreciate it if you just subscribe on that one to help us get to that number so we can start sharing on that platform.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers.